Thank you very much, host 00312. We will be starting shortly. Good afternoon, everybody. How are we doing today? I have had an unproductive day today, mainly because for the last couple of weeks I've been trying to push out get this done. Plus, if you go over either to my website or to my YouTube channel, I'm also doing some kind of writing tutorials as well. It's not so much tutorials, but it's about how to increase your efficiency as a writer. So I have been really busy with that. I've had a number of commercial projects that I've had to do. So I knew I would do. I'm feeling the end of the week and Friday cannot get here fast enough. So today I wanted to have the energy for the stream. So I've kind of shifted things around so that I'm going to do this first and then I'm going to probably do a bunch of writing later and into the evening. So let's jump into the live scene. There we go. Hello, everybody. So, if you are new here, welcome to the first draft. What this show, if you like, I suppose it is a show in some respects. What this show is I'm writing a web serial. It's purely to go onto the website. It's never intended to be sort of published as as an ongoing story, other than on the website. But the idea behind it is to kind of show you behind the scenes, show you what first drafts look like, kind of discuss things, discuss choices. You can ask questions. You can say, well, why are you making that choice? Why don't you like that phrase? Why have you edited it? You know, kind of deleted it, rewritten it. Ask questions. You can make suggestions. It's really, you know, up to you how much you can just sit back and watch. You don't just have to ask questions about the story I'm writing. You can ask general craft questions if you have them. I write I write novels, I write short stories, I write video games, I do some script work, but not commercially at this stage. So I've got some experience. If you are looking for an agent and want advice on that, I can give you some advice. You can ask all sorts of things. So, but what we're going to do today is we are going to write chapter 3. It's a blank page at the moment. So, let's just to get into the mood. The story is that our heroes, they're kind of this band of outcasts. They're kind of living off the land. There's not much that's, you know, they haven't got much. The vibe for the world is kind of Scottish Highlands. And they've been helping an archaeologist who's been paying them really good money to kind of pull scrap bits of metal out of a bog. And they found a crystal that was started pulsing. It exploded, leaving a blue orb, and blew them kind of off their feet. And then when they've touched it again, this tear has opened in the world. So it's always a good idea when you start off. It's frightening just having that blank page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read what I wrote yesterday. And like everybody, what's going to happen is that as you read over it, you'll go, oh, that I don't like, that's a clunky phrase. I don't like that use of that verb, that noun, whatever. So, let's go to Jack. So, If there was one thing Jax was good at, it was keeping everyone's spirits up. He was a bundle of energy, always willing to entertain. What he wasn't was good at taking orders. He reached out and touched the orb. Everyone else cowered, ready to be flung off their feet again. They stood there for a few seconds waiting for it, before realising nothing had happened. Moonfather, Jax, Red cursed. We talked about finding ways to come up with creative kind of curses to kind of aid your world building. We discussed that yesterday. You had little faith, Jax replied, carrying the orb over to them. Jax, said Drummond, I told you it would be fine. Jax, said Marley. It was just some sort of booby trap. Jax, shouted Gina at a volume that deafened everyone. Jax stopped in his tracks. What? He said. He turned around and looked behind him. It was as if the real world was a bed sheet that someone had cut with a knife. Through the tear, Jax could see sunlight. What the? Said Drummond, walking towards it, unsheathing his knife. Drummond, stay back, Marley ordered. But Drummond wasn't listening. The others were also approaching the tear with the same bewilderment. Marley tentatively followed. She could make out light coming from the tear, and as she neared, she saw trees and plants the light she'd never seen. There was the sound of birds chirping. I would have liked to have put a little bit more description in there. What is that? Red asked. They circled it, the tear looking the same no matter where they stood. I don't know, said Marley, but it can't be good. So, oh God, I've got had hay fever, so I've got a really kind of weird voice today. I don't know if it's because I've done a lot of live streaming or that. Today, I had a little think about it today. I'm gonna do this in 18 points. I'm going to just make some notes in myself. I'm using a piece of software called Scrivener, which is really good for pros. So, my notes to myself, right. Just for your benefit, my inspirations today. So, things that I have seen today and kind of have influenced me. So, one is the Matrix trailer. Saw that about an hour ago. I'm still interested in whether it's going to have the impact that the first films had, because special effects have kind of caught up and overtaking. So, but I kind of like the thing that's kind of inspiring me is that kind of Neo all-powerful thing. I'm thinking about it with the mutations, things like that. So, and the other thing I realised is I have a Fortnite Battle Pass, and it's the end of the season on Sunday, and I have not done anything because my computer died for most of the season. So I played a little bit of that. So that's gonna be kind of, you know, you can maybe see as I write, you might be able to see those influences coming in. So the point of view today, I have decided that it's gonna be Jax. Why is it going to be Jax? Well, if I'm absolutely 100% honest, it's because all the characters I've written so far, he's been the most fun. I think it's mainly because I have the most established idea of his character. I think that it will, you know, where it's been a long week, there's a lot been going on. Doing the viewpoint from Jax will be kind of aid me get through this chapter. If you remember, when we were doing the planning. Oh, thank you, Xtula. Thank you for the follow. Thank you. So if you remember during the preparation things, I said what I wanted to do was have lots of options, and this is me using that option. So yesterday, it was one of those writing days where it just felt like treacle. I was, you know, there typing, thinking, oh God, why? But having lots of different characters and being able to use their points of view give me options. So today I'm kind of like, you know, got a bit of hay fever, sore throat, I'm feeling a little bit run down. I'm going to do Jax because it's going to be easier. But I can still have a lot of fun with that. So, things we need to establish in this chapter. Basically, it's fairly simple. They need to investigate the portal. And by investigate, I may have them step through. We can have some fun with that, but we're not going to go too deep into it. An idea I had is that there's food there. If you remember from our notes, one of the things we said was that's going to like trigger their mutations. Now the big problem is that if I do that, I'm locking in what their mutations are going to be like going through for the thing of the story. If I was writing this as a commercial project, I wouldn't have that worry, because I would just go, oh, I'll write whatever and I'll just change it as we go along, you know. So it's amazing how much you can kind of rip out and replace as you go along. So we maybe trigger a mutation, and then we're gonna have the soldiers turn up. There's one consideration. This is me not screwing myself over. Touching the orb. Jax has touched the orb and it creates a portal, right? If one of the others, it's assuming because of his magical abilities he's now got from the exploding crystal, left us with the orb, which I hate that as an idea. If I was editing, that's the first thing I would have done today, was change that to something a little bit more, I don't know, just feels clunky. But if anybody else touches that orb, including Jax, because I thought, oh, maybe I could have it that when he touches the orb, it opens a portal, and then when he puts it down and steps away from it, it closes. But that's not going to help us for what we want to do later on. So we need to consider that, you know, because otherwise he picks it. You know, he's touched the orb, he's created a portal, he puts it down, looks at the thing, the soldiers go to take him. Now, if the soldiers pick it up, it's not going to hurt because they don't have the ability, so therefore they're not going to create the portal. If any of the other team pick it up, then it's going to create a second portal. So we need to kind of keep our mind on that. Now, we can play with that when we do the scene with Lord Quentin, because somebody could show him, look, this is what we found. As soon as they open it, portal opens. The other thing that we said was that these worlds, we said in our plan that these worlds were caused by mirror portals. So there needs to be one. Another orb. They need to see another orb somehow. Now, if this has been used in the past, there may be loads of other portals there. I don't want them to actually come into any harm here as well. That's the other thing I'm considering, because I'm thinking that when they first open the portal, that basically something comes out of it when they go to Lord Quentin's. Now, I am aware that as I'm opening portals, I can't close them, so I'm really kind of messing up my medieval world. You know, if we go to Lord Quentin's residence, and they you know, one of our heroes touches the orb, there's a portal there and it's gonna stay there. So I've kind of got these are all the things that are in the back of my mind. So what I am going to do then is I am gonna start with Jax. I'm gonna just start with So what we're doing is we're going to go into his head. So let me just remind myself where we is that. Right, I am also going to take my headphones off because this music I have found I write a lot faster when I don't have. I'm really fussy with music, but I've also got to be careful with copyright as well. And this music isn't I can stream, so whereas the music I would listen to I can't, and then I wouldn't be able to put it in a YouTube video. So I feel like I'm missing a conversation, but I'm not. All I'm doing is missing music because you can still hear me. Right, okay. Again, reminding myself, they circled it. So you can read it as well. So just how to start this. Starting the page off. The chapter off. Notice that my language becomes a lot more kind of colloquial, a little bit more. This was amazing. I don't know whether I like using the word cool in this universe, but I'm going to just go with it. So, we're not doing kind of like, historical or anything like that. So, one of the conceits of, especially if any of you write fantasy, is that how we write, like dialogue, is very much to the modern day because we're appealing to a modern audience. Even though our worlds are kind of maybe historically influenced. And we might add in a few little kind of trigger words to try and trick our readers into thinking it's kind of like historical language. But if you did do proper kind of historically accurate language, even if you're writing like a historical fiction, you'd probably lose your audience. So it's all smoke and mirrors, really. So I'm trying to think in my head, how if you didn't think, what would this be like? There is a tendency also sometimes to like vary up. Like I used to do this, like, I've used said before, so I'll change it. You can get away with said. Said's a pretty neutral word, but when I read it back, I may change it. Just be careful of that. He said, he huffed, he smiled, he laughed, I'm bad at it, and I sometimes need to change it myself. But don't be afraid of using said. herd of deer. I'm going to put... actually, I have deliberately... Today, I've got... put another screen so I don't have to... I'm tripping over my words. What I've got on my other screen, not the one that's here, the one that's here, is I've got a browser window. So literally, I'm looking up... Literally, I've Googled collection of deer. A group of deer is called a herd, so I am right there. That's good. Doubted genome. Gives it a little bit more. Great. It should feel like it. So where I'm trying to go for here is I'm trying to set up that Jax is kind of a little bit reckless. He's like, he thinks everybody's a bit boring because they're sensible. So he's a little bit more quippy as a character. So what have we got so far? So, Jack. This was amazing. Jack's wandered around the tear, staring at the world beyond. That is so cool, he said. Drummond huffed. It's like looking into a painting, except it's real, said Red. Looks like trouble, Marley commented. Jax rolled his eyes. Everything was always trouble with Marley. Snow arrived a week earlier than expected. Herd of deer wander onto the mountain slopes to feed them through winter. Trouble. Anything and everything was trouble to Marley. He supposed she was only trying to keep them safe. Without her, he doubted Gina and him would have survived that first winter after being banished from the estate. He was grateful, but everyone was always so serious. They lived free, answered to no lead. It should feel like an adventure. They were all so boring. Or maybe not Gina. She could be fun until she got cold, and then she moved. Debating whether the response trying to order things. So what I was going to write was that he picked up the sod of peat and threw it at the tear, that the Marley responded and then the sod landed, but I think it's better that the sod lands before she makes the comment. I don't know whether it be wet is the right word, but commanded. Good morning, Birdie. How are you? Good morning. How the devil are you? We are already 228 words into chapter 3. It's going well this morning. Yeah, I'd be tempted if it wasn't Jax that they can't find Jax, and Jax is through the portal. We can't do that because we're Jax's point of view, so he has to be present to see the things that happen. Too early, that's how I am. Yeah. Have you had a bacon and egg sandwich again today? where I'm struggling at the moment is to try and work out, the concept of a wormhole or a portal is probably alien to these people. So what would they think of it? Can Jax be told about them later? Potentially. When you've got a lot of characters, it's important that you kind of give all of them to do something. There is something to be said for the story not shown to the reader, but hinted at and later revealed. Yeah. It's difficult to do in this series though, because we kind of plotted it out. So a lot of the things that are hidden, people already know. Lost their technology over years. Commanded there because I think that it works in that sense. As I said earlier, just not try not to mix up too many kind of synonyms that I've said. Yeah. It depends. You can have third person omniscient. And you can have like situations where you do the point of view character kind of says, I heard this, learned this. But in terms of what we're going for here is kind of third person limited is what we're doing. So it makes it a little bit, we just kind of got to play within the rules. Oh, I didn't know anything about your story, but point of view is something I'm playing around with myself right now. What are you playing around with? What would you like? Let's have a discussion about point of view. What are you playing around with, and what do you see as your challenges there? Air immediately changed. Gone was the cold night air. Gone was the cold night, replaced by something hot and humid. Almost took his breath away. Right, sorry about that. Abundance of remember I said I'm really bad at description. This is a bit where I need to kind of go to do a little bit more description. I would normally do this second draft. So Birdie says I'm working on something funky for a game I play and written a little bit of writing a little bit of fan fiction. Cool. The group split up and we follow the point of view character stealing some food and starting a fight. Then he sees a commotion. The person he's fighting runs off and he escapes to waiting at a place. Hours later, the others show up and they've kidnapped some children. Okay, cool. I did something with point of view. I wrote a novel where everything was in first person, and I needed to basically he was going up against a sniper, not as in a modern day sniper, but, rifle hunting rifle. And the whole story was or that scene was him. He'd worked out like using the sun to blind him and kind of set him like playing psychological games. He was just marching towards this sniper, and what I ended up having to do was kind of I swapped like almost point of view, but I did it from within the character. It was really complicated, but it was kind of him sort of saying, right, this is the plan, right, he is going to be aiming his rifle right about now. He's just going to suddenly realise that the sun's come up behind me and he can't see me down the scope anymore. And now I'm a little bit further along, and he's never missed before. He's never missed, and he's just a little bit unsure. And it's enough that he flubs the second shot and things like that. So that was a really interesting point of view bit to do. Okay. Also, I'm getting some major lag that is probably on my end. Oh, okay. Probably missed something. I'm probably just rambling on. No, I was just, asking what sort of challenges you've got with point of view and things like that. Whether it's anything that I could give any advice on or help with, or things like that. If you had any questions about it. Trying to describe a jungle here without anybody seeing a jungle. No questions. I'm just exploring it, testing the boundary. Cool, cool, cool. Nothing anyone can tell me. Just got it right. Yep. Sometimes that's the case. Yep. Sometimes you just need to work it out for yourself. And sometimes, like, you know, I try and do a number of writing projects each year that aren't commercial. Like, this is one of them, just to try something a little bit different. I set myself a challenge as well that I was going to write. I saw this. One of the things I'd like to do is do scripts. I'm not sure whether I'd ever like to do it commercially, because that industry is very, very hard to get into. Although technically, I believe I do have a film and TV agent, but through my agent, through my agency I'm with. But I'm just kind of like, you know, expanding my skills, just having more strings to my bow, if you like. So one of the things that I saw was somebody said, oh, you know, before they became a successful scriptwriter, they challenged themselves to write one script every single month. And I've kind of said, oh, I should do that one a quarter. Although I don't get time to do it this quarter. So many projects on that. You know, just as there's stuff I do because I'm going to get paid money for it, and there's stuff that I do because it tests what I'm doing. Okay, sorry that the lag's back. I hope it's. I don't mean this nastily. I hope it's your end and not my end. But have a great day at work, if you can, and I will see you around. Thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate it. So, I'm going to describe the tech. Just walk through. I'm gonna see if I can get away with it when I come to read it back. Okay, the shouting needs to come before that. So I'm going to move that up here. A little bit of humour in there. So we're heading towards like the idea of getting the food, so so go and step through. He's the hunter of the group. I'm probably going to come back and add bits in as I go. Trying to think of a different you. Drummond is developing he's originally, when we planned him out, he was like John, the guy who played the Punisher in the Netflix series, but he's now more like Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead. There we go. So, sheath his knife and cut a thin, solid inside. So the things we haven't done, I'm considering at the moment, is we haven't pointed out there's another pool. So out there's more. So we've got to find that. And maybe they can be hide shrubs. They're doing the eating the food, triggering the mutation. So we're making our progress. See how we've made this rough plan for ourselves. Scrivener has this really horrible thing where sometimes it just doesn't do the tabs. So, I've already written quite a bit today, so this is good. It's going for good forward. I was going to write guys, but I want to be a little bit more. See, today things seem to be flowing a little bit better, so I apologise if I'm a little bit quiet. Where it's coming, I kind of want to keep the flow going, so. I'm very conscious I haven't done much of kind of interjacks. I mean, he is fairly not two-dimensional. There is depth to him, but I feel like I could do a little bit more. So probably gonna get to a certain stage and then start going back over it. So also just go read it aloud to sort of see the flow and things like that. We haven't finished it, but it's just kind of like as we're going the right way. So one of the things I'm doing there is I've kind of need to rewrite the fact that they could be poisonous. We've established that, but what I'm doing is using Jax as a character to kind of make a joke about it, so that we can reiterate it without the reader feeling like we're hammering it The idea I've got with the hut is that the person who was there has obviously created these portals. He's gone in exploring, and he's come a cropper somewhere. He's died. Very much, it feels very. When I first write, I do go very conversation heavy. I kind of almost write it as a script, and then I kind of flesh it out. That's when things are flowing. So I am going to read back a little bit because I'm getting quite far ahead and I want to make sure I'm not missing anything out. There's probably some description we need to put in, as well as kind of things to address flow. So read from the start. This was amazing. Jax wandered around the tear, staring at the world beyond. This is so cool, he said. Drummond huffed. It's like looking into a painting, except it's real, said Red. Looks like trouble, Marley commented. Jax rolled his eyes. Everything was always trouble with Marley. Snow arrived a week earlier than expected. Trouble. Herd of deer wander onto the mountain slopes to feed them through winter. I don't like that sentence. Try vegetable harvest was better than usual. And the reason I'm saying that's trouble is because he's kind of mocking her. Vegetable harvest was better than usual. You know, normally if it's worse than usual, that's trouble. But even if it's better than usual, that's trouble. Anything and everything was trouble to him. He supposed she was only trying to keep them safe. Without her, he doubted Gina and him would have survived that first winter after being banished from the estate. He was grateful. Everyone was so serious. They lived free, in answer to no lord. It should feel like an adventure. They were all but they were also boring. Well, maybe not Gina. She could be fun until she got cold, and then she might. Jax picked up a sod of peat and threw it at the tear. It landed on the ground beyond with Jax came the expected response from Marley. Drummond got as close to the portal as anyone had dared. I think there could be food through there, he said. No, commanded Marley. No one is going through that thing. It could be dangerous. We don't know if it will close or where it is or if there's anything dangerous. Look. When we read it back, we may delete that. I think that's a place somewhere. Real. So I'm thinking also, the other thing I've been thinking is that, you know, the Moonfather may have talked about many worlds and things like that. So I'm trying not to limit my terminology or their understanding, so they, got them to understand that, you know what, it's another world. That's fine. That's a real place. You saw the grass Jax through. You saw the grass Jax through. It's hard, difficult to read, but it's okay to read. Through, said Gina. It's as real as here. World? Maybe. We might delete that when we come back to it. Which is why we are staying away from it, Mark. This is something I find that I sometimes do, where I basically... my characters that change the spelling of their name over the course of the story. Characters I've put here. You saw the grass Jax through, said Gina. It's as real as here, just another world. See, now, this is what my agent would tell me. She would say, it's another world. Let's make it simple. Which is why we are staying away from it, Marley commanded. Jax started stepping backwards. I kind of like that. That's kind of a little bit, kind of gives a bit of character. Sorry, didn't hear you, he said, as he stepped back through the portal. So you've got stepping and stepped. I want to know if that flows, so I'm going to read it from up here. You think that's a real place? Red asked. You saw the grass Jax through, said Gina. It's another world, which is why we're staying away from it, Marley commanded. Jax started stepping backwards. Sorry, didn't hear you, he said as he stepped back through the portal. Okay, it seems to work. The air immediately changed. Gone was the cold night, replaced by something hot and humid. It almost took his breath away. He was in some sort of forest, but it was unlike any forest he'd ever seen. There was an abundance of plants and trees. They wrapped around tall, red bark. Unless I put an abundance of light. So don't want to do the trees. There seemed an abundance of plants. It wrapped around tall red bark trees that formed a canopy above, whereas the forest of the clanlands were dull and sparse as seemed so full of life it was almost dizzy. Jax, he heard several people shouting. In front of him was a tear like the one he had just walked. But whereas he had seen this world in that tear, he now saw his own world through the one in front of him. He could make out the others peering in at him. "I'm fine," he said. "You won't worry too much." "What's it like?" asked Red. "Don't encourage him," Marley said to Red. "Jax, get back here." Jax ignored her. "Don't recognise the plants, but there seems to be loads of food here." Someone stepped through. He looked around him as he joined Jax, patting him on the shoulder as he passed. "Worse, compliment, Drummond. Those were rarer than full bellies. Any of it edible? Is any of it edible?" "Don't recognise any of these," Drummond said, crouching down to examine a large blue fruit growing on one of the bushes. "It could be poison," Marley said. "Come on, the pair of you. Let's get out of here before..." Gina and Red stepped through the tear to join Drummond and Jax. "Moonfall, where are we?" "I ain't sure," said Drummond. "But if this stuff is edible, it can get us through winter. It supplies for forever." Forever. It supplies forever, Gina added, walking over and plucking one of the blue fruit. "Careful, darling," Drummond said, taking the fruit off her. "Marley's right. They could be poison." Okay, so he did. I'm just wondering if he plucked fruit and then he's got two fruit. This is logistics kind of thing. Marley's right, they could be poison. He unsheathed his knife and cut a thin slice from the fruit. I wonder if I've got too much fruit in language. Whether I say "Moonfather," Red cursed. "Where are we?" "I ain't sure," said Drummond, "but if this stuff is edible, it could get us through winter. It could supply us forever," Gina added, walking over and plucking one of the blue fruit. "Careful, darling," Drummond said, taking the fruit off of her. Marley's right, they could be poison. He unsheathed his knife and cut a thin slice. He cut a thin slice. I don't need to have from the fruit. We've assumed that. It was solid inside and reminded Jax of a pear. Drummond ate the slice. "Tastes okay," said, chewing it. "Tastes like apple." We've mentioned that it tastes like apple. I might have mentioned that again later on. "Doesn't mean it's safe to eat," Marley said, stepping through. "Decided to join us," Jax said. "I thought you said it was too dangerous." Red cuffed him behind the ear. "Mind your manners," he said. In Jax's mind, they should be thanking him. He was the one who'd opened the portal. He was the one who'd first stepped through. But no, they were still moaning at him. No surprise there. "I think I might stay," he said as the group started looking around. "Really?" Red said, raising an eyebrow. "Why not?" Jax protested. "There's already more food here than we see in a day. And it's warm." "Folks," Gina said. And foraging. "And it's warm. Folks," Gina said, pointing into the foliage. "Are those more tares?" Everyone joined her to stare through the undergrowth. Sure enough, Jax could make out several more tares. These ones to worlds that were covered in snow or sand, or looked out over great lakes. Drummond led the way as he hacked a path through to a little clearing with all the portals. He bent down and examined the earth. "This isn't natural," he says. "Someone's cleared the area. Why hasn't it grown back up, though? That's the thing if he's been gone 6 months. Let it slide. Could have been wrong 6 months. This is natural. Someone cleared this area. All we need to do, it doesn't matter whether somebody's there or not. The fact is that they just don't need to be there before everything goes to shit. This is natural. Someone cleared this area. Guys, Jack said, looking off to one side. There was a little wooden hut. It'd seen better days. At the edge of the cliff. Seen better days. Looks like it's been unoccupied for some time, said Drummond. Jack wasn't sure how he could say that. It seemed Do I need to say how it's seen better days? On the roof. Looks like it's been unoccupied for some time, said Drummond. Jax wasn't sure how he could say that. It seemed in better condition than the cranny. Drummond made his way over to investigate, but Jax was more interested in the crudely constructed pillar made of rocks, and the orb sat upon it. Marley saw it too. Do we need to say it was in the bog? Maybe not. Maybe. I'm putting in the bog just to try and anchor where they are to where they were in the reader's mind. Marley saw it too and quickly moved to stand between him and it. No touching, she said. We don't know what it will do. What do you do with our orb here? He asked. Back there, she said, nodding in the direction of the portal they'd come through. Our world. I think it was a good idea to leave it unattended, he said. A concerned look passed over Marley's face. Put a comment about something about, you know, that they're in the middle of nowhere. We've said that nothing. Need to be getting back, she decided. Come on, everyone, we've had our fun now. Let's leave. Leave, Jax protested. We've not gathered food yet. We don't know these plants. They could be poisonous. Jax finished? You said. But those blue pears haven't killed Drummond yet. Drummond was coming out of the hut. No one's been here for at least 6 months. Anything of use, Red asked? Some vines, but the rest is trash. No dead body, Jax added. Which means he didn't die eating the pears. Before anyone could stop me, rushed over and plucked one of the fruit off a bush. Jax, no, Marley shouted, but it was too late as he took a huge bite out of it. He didn't realise how hungry he was. After surviving on rabbit, deer and vegetables all summer, he missed the sweet taste the winter maize we bought. I think there needs to be something in here. Didn't realise how hungry he was. I'm thinking, do I need to put something in there saying, you know, like literally he hasn't eaten all day? Don't need to do it. I try and just kind of pull myself back a little bit, so I'll kind of go, oh, and then, you know, want to write something and then go, right, can I get away with not putting it in? If I can, then I will take it out. After surviving on rabbit, deer, and vegetables or something, he missed the sweet taste of the winter berries. This was like this, but 100 times better. Moonfather, this is amazing. Gosh. To give a little bit of character. Gina didn't need any kind of rushed over to join him. So they're all going to get passed. Now, are we going to do it in this chapter or a later chapter? So that is the question. 1,200 words in. So. I am probably going to leave the magic abilities to a later chapter, because the way I'm thinking is that this chapter is about they're in another world and there is a portal. Okay, so this is talking about the portal. To add, we're setting up the magic abilities, but I think putting them in here kind of wastes that as a. It muddies it, you know, maybe. This is Red's asking questions that the reader might ask, so that's what we're doing here. just making sure it's just like not easy street all the way through. So that what we're trying to say is that how long before I'm trying to think the right phrase to say. We need to harvest as much as we can. We don't know how long we can. That's the wrong word. Oh, this is clunky. This is clunky. This is clunky. I agree. We need to. Quentin will be sending every serve he has through it, Marley said. Some of us have been poor, so we'll guard this little treasure trove better than his vault. Tested might be the wrong word. So we're nearing the end of this chapter. We're setting it up. If you like, we're setting things that, well, what we're actually doing is we're tricking the reader here, because we're kind of setting everything up with a plan so that there is agency for our characters. They are going to do something. So the reader thinks, oh, I know what's going to happen in the next chapter, and then we're going to do a little bit of a switch right at the end where the soldiers are going to be there. So literally, there's a lot of as is there. I'm going to read through this all again out loud. Good way to kind of think. Doing a little bit of misdirection at the moment because we're going to go into Jax's thoughts as he goes through the portal, and then we're going to do the switch. So Jack. Little bit of foreshadowing. Dashes. keep seeing that like the I've got the mixer on. I've got the audio levels are showing on my screen over there, and I keep out of the corner of my eye see something tweet, and I think it's a comment, so I keep looking. Okay, so that is looking like our chapter. Things I'm learning from this is that probably I've got, you notice what I'm doing is I've got a lot of ideas and not all of them end up into the chapter. Now, if I were writing a novel, this might be slightly different because I might go for a 4,000 word chapter and just write over a couple of sessions. But I've got to do a chapter a day, so it's in my interest. Chapter every episode, so it's in my interest to try and keep it short. So therefore, that's why ideas kind of get ejected forward. So let's read through this. Let's see what we can say. So this was amazing. Jax wandered around the. I'm gonna put the music. Oh, my headphones on. Sorry. This was amazing. Jax wandered around the tear, staring at the world beyond. That is so cool, he said. Drummond huffed. It's like looking into a painting, except it's real, said Red. It looks like trouble, Marley commented. I'm a little worried that it's a little bit too much, he said, she said. Let's do muttered. Jax rolled his eyes. Everything was always trouble with Marley. Snow arrived a week earlier than expected. Trouble. Vegetable harvest was better than usual. Trouble. Anything and everything was trouble to Marley. He supposed. I think we should link back to this. At the end. That would be a nice rounded thing. So I'm going to do that now. What don't you... This probably works better as an ending. Because it kind of... making a little bit of changes here, so this is what we do. Okay, that's good. That will help us link it back. So this it goes full circle. Jax rolled his eyes. Everything was always trouble. He was supposed to. He supposed she was only trying to keep them safe. Without her, he doubted Gina and him would have survived that first winter after being banished from the estate. He was grateful, but everyone was always so serious. They lived free, answer to no lord. It should feel like an adventure. But they were all so boring. Well, maybe not Gina. She could be fun until she got cold, and then she said. Someone cleared this area. Made this clearing, cleared this area. I don't think we can get around it. Leaving it. I will probably reread this tomorrow and hate that this. So what I'm looking at is little clearing and cleared this area. It just seems a repeat of the word clear. Guys, Jack said, looking off to one side. Yeah. I'm trying to use more inclusive language in this. There was a little wooden hut at the edge of the clearing. It'd seen better days. Part of the roof had collapsed and vines had taken over one side and were sprouting between the logs. The logs. Full stop. Looks like it's been unoccupied for some time, said Drummond. Dax wasn't sure how he could say that. It seemed in better condition than the crannig. Drummond made his way over to investigate, but Jax was more interested in the crudely constructed pillar made of rocks and the orb sat upon it. It was identical to the one they had found in the bog. Marley saw it too and quickly moved to stand between him and it. No touching, she said. We don't know what it will do. What did you do with our orb? He asked. It's back there, she said, nodding the direction of the portal. The portal? One of the things that I would do if I was revising, I might get consistent about whether you call it a tear or a portal or a wormhole or whatever. Because I'd prefer portal, but it looks like tear. Because it could be tear. Do you think it was a good idea to leave it unattended, he said. A concerned look passed over Marley's face, despite the fact that Jax doubted anyone would be walking through the bog in the middle of the night. Again, this is kind of this is a little bit of what do you call it? Foreshadowing. We need to be getting back, she decided. Come on, everyone, we've had our fun now. Let's leave. Leave, Jax protested. We've not gathered food yet. We don't need these plants. They could be poisonous. Jax finished. You said. But those blue pears haven't killed Drummond yet. Drummond was coming out of the hut. No one's been here for at least 6 months. Anything of use, Red asked. Some vines, but the rest is all trash. And no dead body, Jax asked, which means he didn't die eating the pears. Before anyone could stop him, he rushed over and plucked one of the fruit off a bush. Jax, no, Marley shouted, but it was too late as he took a huge bite out of it. Don't need out of it. He didn't realise how hungry he was. After surviving on rabbit, deer and vegetables all summer, he'd missed the sweet taste the winter berries always brought. This was like this. This was like this. This reminded him of them 100 times better. Moonflower, he gushed. This is amazing. Gina didn't need any encouragement and rushed over to join him. Folks, she said, we need to try these. Once again, Marley's warnings were ignored as Red also plucked a fruit and started eating it. These are great, Red said to Marley, holding up his half-eaten fruit. You should try them. He tossed one to Drummond, who also took a bite. We should come here tomorrow with sacks, he said. Gather as many as we can. Will the table will still be open, Red asked. Drummond nodded towards the other tears. Those appear to have stayed open despite no one being here. So I'm assuming this is a permanent thing. Terry's going to stick out like a sore thumb come tomorrow, Jack said. How long before Lord Quentin finds it? Drummond nodded. I agree. We need to harvest as much as we can. We don't know how long we'll be able to come and go without being spotted. Quentin will send every serf he has through it, Marley said. The summer harvests have been poor, so we'll guard this little treasure trove better than his vault. Can we hide it, Jack suggested, licking his fingers and taking another through. I'm so used to food being sparse that the act of having a second made him feel somewhat guilty. Hide it, Red protested. It's a hole in our world. How the moon are you going to hide it? Jack shrugged. He hadn't exactly thought this idea through. I don't know. He said behind a tree. Great idea, Jack. So let's just dig up a lone tree and plant it in the middle of the moor. Red shook his head in disbelief. It's just an idea, okay? We've got limited time with this windfall, said Drummond, stuffing more pears into his pockets. Red, Jax and I will come early tomorrow with sacks and fill as many as we can. And the professor, Marley asked, what's he going to say? That's for your job. That's your job to deal with, Drummond. I don't remember putting you in charge, but okay. I think he was looking for the order. Maybe he knows more about this. Maybe he doesn't want us knowing about it, Red. Corrected? Would that be a good one? Does that work? Do you think he was looking for the orb, Jax asked? Maybe he knows more about this. Maybe he doesn't want us knowing about it. Things like this, people want to keep secret. Drummond nodded. Agreed. We don't know his intentions. Arm yourself tomorrow, Marley. Daggers, something concealed. Jab grabbed as many fruit as he could carry as they made their way back to the tear. He was still pissed that no one had thought to thank him. Every time Drummond came back with a deer or a rabbit, Marley thanked him. Jackson just found an endless source of food, and they were still moaning at him. Perhaps he should might take it residence in that rundown hut and live here instead. Surely that would be better than being moaned at all the time. Although he did wonder how long he could eat just pears before he got sick of them. They stepped through the tear, the cold night together with their wet clothes mate. Right, he's wet clothes. Instead of being generic, I've made it specific. So I've gone from a sort of a third-person view to a third-person limited. So we're seeing this through Jax's eyes. So cold night together with their wet clothes made him shiver. More personal. Remember your stuff, Marley said as she stepped through. We don't want what? A voice asked. Jax looked up to see half a dozen soldiers on horseback staring at them. They wore the chainmail and rounded helmets with nose bridges that were typical of Laird Quentin's troops. Their swords were drawn and their pikes levelled at them. Trouble, Marley finished. I think that will work. That was supposed to be a short chapter, but we got quite a bit done there. So, what I'm going to do is I am going to end the stream there. So, the video will be up later on YouTube and on the website probably maybe tomorrow. I've got something on in the morning, so I might not get time to upload it to put it on add it onto the website, because I have to kind of pace the story as well. So you may see it, if not, but you will be able to watch the replay on YouTube hopefully tonight. So with that said, I will see you tomorrow, 3 PM, for chapter 4. So, chapter 4 tomorrow. We are going to be doing Lord Quentin tomorrow, so that's going to be a little bit of fun. It's going to change of scenery and things like that. So, hope you all have a really, really great evening, and I will see you tomorrow. Remember to follow all my socials. See you guys. Have a great evening. Night.